You stupid bitch. Yeah, you're a stupid bitch. You stupid bitch.
Welcome to another week of Stupid Bitches Say What, the Aussie podcast about everything and nothing, but always with wine. And your hosts, Sky Lee Collett and Sean Hickens.
This week's topic is What's the Haps? Where we discuss some of the current affairs that have happened over the past 4 weeks. This week, we're going to discuss the Marvellous Women card launch, some local current issues, Kanye, of course, the SAGs, Australian Actor Guild Awards, and the war on Ukraine.
What are you drinking, Sean?
Oh, you stupid bitch. I am still drinking the whites, and it is still a 2021 wine room, but it's Small Valley Vineyard, and it's a Sauv Blanc from the Adelaide Hills. Gumaracha.
Can I just make an observation there? You just opened that bottle and it's awfully empty. Is that because you poured an entire giant glass? Oh, so you have a white wine decanter too.
It's more of a cooler, so I don't have to keep it in the fridge. It's like I got it from Good Pair Days. It's a white wine thermos. So you fill her up and it stays chilly, and I don't have to add an ice bucket or run to the fridge or anything.
So it's for all the picnics that you go on, all the romantic picnics.
I've got 2 fucking Good Pair Day picnic rugs as well that have never been used.
That you tried to make me get on board to get one.
Oh no, that was the Esky.
No, it was a picnic rug. You said to me you'll get a free picnic rug out of this. I was like, I don't need a fucking picnic rug. I'm moving house. I need to get rid of shit like that.
Well, I've got one for you anyway. What are you drinking, Sky?
Well, look, I've switched up a little bit. I'm drinking a cheeky little Smirnoff seltzer. It's one of my faves. It's the raspberry rose. It's been my fave for a while since they've come out. Have you jumped on the whole seltzer bandwagon?
I've done a few seltzers. I don't mind them.
It's not for everyone.
Well, they're nice, and it's good to have as a light drink, especially if you've had a few beers before, because it is very light. As we know, it's like calorie conscious. Yeah. But it does feel like you're drinking sort of nothing.
It's more in the vein of like a vodka soda. Like if you enjoy the taste of a vodka soda, you know,
with a little flavour spritz,
nothing. You know, that's if you don't like drinks without a lot of flavour, then you're not going to like the old seltzer.
And I love a vodka soda too.
Yeah, I love a vodka soda.
Yeah.
That was my drink, the yonks and yonks and yonks.
Fresh lime, please, not the fucking cordial or fresh lime cordial.
I know. And then every time you go, can I get a vodka lime soda, and they'd put cordial in, and it would be horrible, and you want to spew, and then waste like your whole drink, especially if you were getting expensive vodka like Grey Goose.
And clearly,
I used to say every time fresh lime if you've got it. If you don't, just nothing.
Nothing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm the same. Yeah, no, I'm the same. I mean, this body does not get to a shape like this by drinking fucking cordial.
So much sugar, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's delicious. Nice little refreshing change from the old beanos.
Yeah.
So, what are we talking about this evening? How's your week been?
Week has been good. It's been it's been 2 weeks since we've talked about Survivor and MAFS.
I know.
There's been a few developments. Let's go Survivor first.
So are you up to where?
Are you up to date?
Okay, no, I'm up to where Khan left, which I was devastated about because I'm actually hating most of the contestants who are left.
Oh, because of the boys' fucking club.
Yes. And since Croc left, and I was devastated over Croc leaving, Chrissy's still there. But look, let's face it, Chrissy's not going to last the distance because she doesn't really know how to play. She's lovely and gorgeous, and I just adore her. And I would love to see her get to the end. But she's also had a gutful. She's not cut out for it. It's not her kind of thing.
She's a bit of a non-entity since Croc went.
Yeah, Croc scored. She was only there for Croc. The whole reason she went on it was for Croc.
Yeah.
So I don't think she's going to last the distance anyway. Khan was the one that I was hoping to hang my hat on for winner.
He just held on to that vital He held on to
He,
that idol one
and
more
he got
time.
too cocky, as they always do.
Yeah.
And I was like, can't just, try to look around you. But I guess they played him like a motherfucker.
Yeah.
It was really quite horrible considering what happened when he gave that necklace. And I was fuming when he gave that necklace to Sam. Absolutely fuming. Because
He didn't go out that episode, did he, though?
No, it was the one after. But there was a moment where he got votes flung at him. He got votes flung at him from Ben, I think it was.
Yeah.
But
what a fuck up he was in the end.
Oh, he's the worst. I can't stand him.
His game only came. He had better game when he was scrambling. When he felt confident, he was fucked.
Yeah. But like, the whole boys club grosses me out, but also
it grosses me out too.
The husband and wife team, I really, really liked them at the beginning, but he's a bit of a douche.
He's a bit of a dick. I really still like Sam.
I do like Sam, but I don't like how cocky she was before they merged either. She was calling all the shots. She was part of the reason that Croc went. Well, she wasn't really. It was Ben's fault, but still.
Ben was a fucking idiot for doing that.
Ben walked up to them and said, Croc wants to vote you out, Jesse. Fucking flip. And they both went, oh, yeah, fuck that. Let's flip. And I was like, just feel it out. And look, they could have filled it out and they cut all that for video. Who knows?
Yeah. And they were sort of talking to him because you saw some of the conversations where they were having combos with Chrissy. Are we still good for Khan or are we still good for Ben? So
and I thought Croc was 100% on the money. When Croc went up and said, nah, we've got to get Jesse, I was like, oh, I hadn't even thought of it like that. That's an excellent plan. Of course, you need to start breaking up
and
the
then
couples.
Ben saved the person who threw that very challenge to get rid of him. And he went up and spoke to him about it. It's like, oh,
and Jesse had been gunning for Ben the whole time.
It's like he's got some social insecurities. He needs to be liked or something.
Yeah, I think he's got some issues, definitely. I'd agree with that. But it's really turned me off. And I must say, in all the times that I've watched Survivor, I've always had my moments where I'm upset where people go and I want people to stay or whatever, or I hate when people stay that I want to go, yada, yada.
Oh, yeah,
but
that's the worst part.
I'm just, this season, I'm just like, and look, we've still got Michelle in there because Tyler's one is Michelle to win the money. She's not going to win. Yeah. They're hanging in there by their teeth.
It really pissed me off the editing they gave those sisters at the beginning.
Yeah,
because they've become a bit of an entity where they had to get split up through their threateningness. Why didn't they show us more of them? That's annoying when that happens. And I know you've only got so much time, but these are some people's dreams, being able to get on that show, and then they watch it and they're not even on it for the first 7 weeks.
Yeah. But that was the same with Croc going. Like, I was like, he was there to really make a difference in his life. And, like he was a former NRL player and he was quite vulnerable on TV about that. And I hate vulnerability, me, I hate when people get emotional and stuff like that on telly. But he was like, I didn't know who I was for a while after I played NRL and I, lost a lot of confidence and I've loved Survivor forever, and that's why I've come here to show myself that I can do it. And I was really gunning for him, like,
rooting
I loved him.
Rooting.
But yeah, so I was very disappointed when he left. But now Khan's gone. I'm like, fuck you all. I hate you all. Die in hell, motherfuckers.
Have you watched any of the Jury Villa?
No, I never do. I don't have time. I've barely got enough time. I haven't finished watching 1883, which is finished now. I'm about 6 episodes behind.
Oh, Jesus.
And I've been skipping the MAFS. I've been skipping all the shit MAFS and just watching the dinner parties and the commitment ceremonies.
That's pretty much what I do too, especially when it's intimacy week and shit like that. I'm just like, But then when it's
especially when they're bringing new fucking dumb couples and they're dummies.
Usually the couples that are intruders are a bit more spicy. Although I do feel sorry for that bitch. It's with that fucking, not Dion. What's that other guy? The blonde chick there. She's just like a stunned mullet the whole time.
Oh, the one. My sister reckons that she's got Asperger's or something like that because she seems just completely awkward the entire time, like being cut. And she's got a fucking banging body.
Let's just keep it as friends, shall we?
She's never had a boyfriend either at 38.
I know.
She's never been with
but
anyone.
That guy is too much for her. Like, and I totally get why he's too much. When she says, let's just be friends, and he's there rubbing her still. It's like, dude, pull back. Yeah. Stop being a sleaze. It's a bit sleazy.
Yeah. It is a bit sleazy.
What do you think of? Oh, have you seen any of the episodes this week? Then.
So I'm up to where what's the face left? Jess left. What a fucking cow she was. But he's no prize pig either. He's a bit of a douche.
He had my blood fucking flowing when he was
I'm not surprised that you say
when
that.
he was fucking tuning that chick, when he knew that she was like he comes across quite camp too, I find.
I 100% would agree with that. 100%.
Everything, and which is fine by me. But when
she said he was really tall, I was like, I don't get that. From the persona, he doesn't seem like a very tall man. But she was saying the Brazilian who's really into him. So I'm up to the bit where she has the wine, the Brazilian has the wine and says, I better go. Yes. That's where I've seen the flicks. I know that they go to the gym together.
Well, there's a dinner party.
The preview for that, but I'm not up to that.
What was on Wednesday night? Was that the dinner party?
Are you talking about the dinner party where he flirts with her and says, and she says, he says, how's your week been? And she says, oh, not as bad as yours by the sounds of it. And him and Jess are still together. That's the dinner party, the last dinner party I saw.
No, I think there was a dinner party on Wednesday gone where Al did a bit more of a showcase thing. Like pulled his unders out of his pants and stuff.
Oh no, I haven't seen that.
Yeah, it's not as great because he's not there. But when he's tuning her at his apartment and he was like putting the moves on her and saying about when she said, do you want a water or a wine? She's like, I'll have a wine. It's like amazing. And then he's saying over there and he's like cheersing her and shit. I'm just like, oh, swoon.
What, did that get you hot, did it? I found it really awkward. I was sat there going, ew.
I think it was because he was trying so hard for affection. Be like, oh my God. No one's ever tried that hard.
Nasty. I just thought it was nasty. And this is the thing, like he keeps talking about the integrity of the show and how he's there to find love, but he's cracking onto some other blokes, dude, who's there to find love.
Yeah, I know, but they're obviously not a match at all.
Yeah. But this is the thing, like this is the like they should at least try to pretend that they're matching them. Do you know what I mean? Like actually match people. But I guess they
not where they have to work for it. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess they have to be like 30% ratings. Let's match people who are completely got nothing in common.
Let's match these two intruders.
And let's match 70% that are going to go together.
Knowing the other intruders will like the other intruder. Yeah. So you know that bird that left? The hot guy, high and dry?
Jess. Yeah.
Is that her name? Yeah. So do you know about the controversy about MAFS pre-showing or pre-viewing of the show? So there was a guy that was on there that they had to edit out basically. So when they were on the honeymoon part of the journey, his wife noticed his behavior was quite misogynistic, went onto his social media and found all these social media videos of him saying things about how every gay person will have AIDS, you know, that's just a filthy fucking thing, and talking terribly about women. I mean, like talking about women like they were dogs and sluts, and basically that's all they were good for is fucking and yada, yada, yada. So from this season, they'd cast this guy who physically looks attractive, but obviously verbally he's a fucking scumbag.
He's a dog.
And they had to cut that whole wedding and all that shit out of it. So apparently, from what I've seen,
so that's why Jess and Daniel are there.
No, so Jess was the bride to this guy that they culled, and then they brought her back, and they've quickly matched her with this dude, Daniel. Because she's
had two complete duds.
Yeah, and so all the people that were in the because they would have all met her at the hens. So when they met her again at the dinner party, they were all told to be surprised and act like they'd never met her before. The women, anyway, because they all met her at the hens night at the beginning.
But then why would Dominica be such a bitch to her if she'd known that she'd already been through a whole husband and what had happened? Like,
well, I don't know if they knew what happened with the husband.
Right.
And stuff, that was all
so they didn't know there'd been two husbands. They just saw her showed up and they didn't know who her husband was. So just assumed she only had one husband. I see.
And so then, but yeah, Dominica, she's quite outspoken, isn't she? She's really put on.
At at times I find her quite relatable in that
Yeah.
regard, but other times I think she crosses the line.
Yeah,
massively.
totally. You're not that great.
And I'm worried because for her, because I'm a bit of it. I do like Dominica a lot, but I'm a bit worried because I think she's going to scare Jack off, and I think Jack's a great guy.
Oh, you do love Jack. You told us.
I love Jack. And I think she's too much for him, and she's just pushing him away because she just absolutely won't chill the fuck out.
What did you think about the argument about her saying how he didn't flush the toilet, and he was like, "Can you stop talking shit about me to people?"
I was 100% on his side with it. I only saw bits and pieces from the flashbacks because I didn't see the whole episode. Because that's what I jumped ahead of, because I just didn't have time. I would never have caught up if I didn't cut some episodes. And when they were bringing new people, I was like, I'm out. I'm going to skip to the front because they're going to give me all the highlights of the new people anyway.
Yeah. We didn't watch all the weddings either.
Yeah, so I skipped ahead. So I missed a bit of it. But I saw enough to be like, and the fact that he upped and left as well. But this is so Tyler and I have this conversation about Mitch Neller at the moment. And I was saying to him, and look, overall, the whole thing is that at the end of the day, they choose to put themselves in this situation.
100%.
They choose to go on TV. But I feel for Mitch in a way. I think he's being a wanker, but I also think the pressure of having people in your face with microphones, having to go through these dumb exercises that you would never do in real life, and having to have these open conversations with people just because you're told you have to. I would 100% rebel against that. Yeah. Even if I'd willingly gone on the show, I'd be like, I'm not telling. And the fact they readily confess to having sex too, like they're like excited to tell everyone. I'm like, I'd be like, I'd play coy, do you know what I mean? I'd be like, I need to confirm or deny, but I'm not going to openly tell you that we've had sex.
Yeah. It's like it's a notch on the belt.
Talk about our sex life. That's for us too. It's certainly not for fucking national TV.
Yeah. No, I'm the exact same. I would not be fucking.
So I sort of think whilst they're I think they're showing the clips to make Mitch look like a bad guy. But I think he's just cracking under the genuine pressure.
And I get that too. And I get that even though you know what you're signing up for. I totally get that. That you know what you're signing up for, but after a while you just be like, oh, this is too much. I just need some blah blah blah. But
she talked to him, and this is what I said to Tyler was, if we were at a dinner party and you turned and I turned around, well, the other way, if Tyler had turned around to me at a dinner party, all in front of all of our friends, all strangers, and in that case it's mostly strangers, and openly said that you didn't know how I felt about you and you were worried when I said things about not enjoying the experience, that I didn't want to be with you and blah, 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 I would probably get quite angry too and be like, this is not the forum to have this conversation. Thanks for blindsiding me in front of strangers and saying something really confronting about
But he never said that. He never said that.
You're right.
He said, well, that's your own fucking insecurities and you're just a fuck on my notch board. And
but I don't think I would have acted too well in that situation. I would have been like, rah, too, because I would have been like, don't bring that up in front of all these fucking strangers.
Is this when they were on the couch?
No, I'm talking about that very first time
dinner
he
party.
attacked her.
Yes.
And
did you see when they were on the couch?
Said something about her feeling insecure. Yes, I've seen that.
That's what, and I knew
she's not good enough.
For him, and he's like, I never knew she felt that way. And he was mopping up tears, and I could tell straight away his concern was more about him looking like a bad guy than about her feeling like she wasn't good enough for him. And that's what ended up being. I didn't get
that, but I guess.
Well, that's what ends up happening in the follow-up. He's angry.
Also, but this is the thing. Sometimes women allow men to behave that way. Do you know what I mean? Like, she's acting like this, and then all of a sudden, out of the blue, saying, I don't feel good enough, and she's never told that to him before, but she could tell it to a whole room of strangers and on telly.
To be fair, she didn't actually just spurt it out. He asked her the question. She sat there and thought about it for ages. And when you think about it for that long, then ultimately it's because it's yes. And I think that's what she was getting at.
But if you care about a relationship with someone, you don't admit something like that to strangers. You admit that to your person in private.
But
even if that's true, even if they're
I know, but these are the professionals and they've all known each other 3 weeks and all that shit. But yeah, I just think it was all about him in his head. And that's how I think the way he's speaking to her now, it's just all about him. Like, I'm just prepared to go back to the Gold Coast. He's not even considering her feelings or how would you feel if we left.
It was a bit like he was acting like a bit of a child. Like, it was very unfair. And I felt like reaching to TV and shaking her and say to him, okay, see ya. I'm going back to Melbourne. Yeah. Nice meeting you. Fuck off.
I know.
Do you know what I mean? Like, walk out then. Don't wait for him to turn around and say he's going to stay, because once you let him do that,
it's going to happen again. I know.
Yeah,
I know,
he's going to know he has your number.
She obviously really, really likes him. Because she's even changed herself. He's
prepared to walk away from her.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I just think, I totally agree with what you're saying. And I think he's being a bit of a dick in lots of ways. But also, she can speak up. She doesn't need other people to speak up for her. And that's not fair to then put that on him, that he's not ignoring her feelings and stuff like that, because she's allowing, in all their closed door interactions when there's no one else around, she's letting that behavior continue. And then in a public
she loves
forum,
him. Well, she wants to be with him.
Well, then,
and I'm not saying I'm not saying that that's a reason, but that's like, she's obviously too scared to say anything that's going to make him turn away.
Yeah, after like 5 weeks of going out, I'd be like, ditch your ass, motherfucker.
Oh, totally. But what about my followers? That's why Daniel wants to be in it so fucking much.
I know, totally.
He's like, it's only been a week. I haven't even gotten a fucking name for myself yet.
He's a massive douche. A massive douche.
I'm not going to lie. I would go down on that douche.
Oh, gross. So gross. So gross. But anyway, what about when she goes and the Brazilian's talking about the Italian guy, Dion, doesn't even go to the gym.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I don't think he's ever been to the
stepped
gym.
Foot in a gym. It's just like, Jesus. But they must have really done a number on them if they've said, this is what I want and this is what you're getting. I mean, he's a catch in the sense he's financially secure, and
I think he seems like a very, very sweet, genuine, nice guy though too. Like, I totally no.
Yeah, me too. So I totally get where she's coming from, in the sense that, like, I'm never gonna bone him.
Yeah.
And then he's making those things with those letters and shit like that. And I'm just like, and when he took the letter to the fucking dinner party. Yeah. You know, it was just like,
what letter was it? I haven't seen that.
So he wrote her a 7-page letter in handwriting about how he felt.
Spoilers, I'm going to watch it.
Oh, I thought you weren't watching the middle episodes. This is pre-dinner party.
But when I get to the dinner party, they're going to recap it all for me. Anyway, in context.
All right, I will say no more.
But yeah, I'm looking forward to a big blowout with the whole affair thing, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, they're really making a big fucking song and dance about it in the promos, aren't they?
Yeah, they love it, don't they? The whole thing when you click onto Channel 9 is the affair, and it's all in
the scandal, shit like that. So another thing that...
Once again, we've spent about half an hour on MAFS.
and Survivor. So last night, going back on one of our previous combos, I rewatched Jurassic World, the latest movie of Jurassic World.
Well, I watched the original the other week with Link last week. We watched the original, but we haven't gotten any further than that.
Jurassic World or Jurassic Park?
Jurassic Park, the original. The very first one.
Good one to go with. And I quite like Jurassic Park 3 as well, with Tia.
Well, I want to do the whole lot before the... Yes, yeah, I want to watch... And see, I actually think I've seen 3, and I said to Link,
I quite like it.
Well, that's what Link said to me, because I think that's the best one of the whole first 3. And I was like, seriously? That's really big call. And he's like, no, Mum, I honestly think it's my favourite.
Good.
And I was like...
Jurassic Park 1 is great. Jurassic Park 2 is...
Meh.
3, I thought was good. I think Jurassic Park 1 is the best though, because it's when you first get introduced to all the fucking dinosaurs again. And then Jurassic World, and then I can't remember what the sequel's called for Jurassic World. But I forgot that fucking that daughter, the granddaughter, ended up being a clone and all that shit. He cloned his daughter.
That's such a cool storyline. I loved that too. Yeah, I forgot about that. And they were
saying because that main dinosaur, the hybrid that they want to sell, which is a raptor something hybrid, they're like, they haven't had a chance.
They have the same DNA or something, don't they? She has DNA.
Oh, I
Yeah.
think so. Yeah. Well, they're both clones, and so
Yeah.
and they were saying how the dinosaur hasn't had a chance to learn any empathy or anything. It hasn't found a mother figure where it knows that its mother's the one that's teaching it right from wrong or whatever, because it's
Yeah.
a clone and it hasn't been brought into that scenario, and
Mm.
and and that it would just go around destroying anything without any care or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
Bless you, Tyler. And then I thought at the end, I was like, oh, because you know when the little girl's running from the fucking thing and it's breaking down walls to get to her, and then it comes in through her bedroom window when she's in the bed, but it doesn't really kill her. It just sort of goes up and sniffs her and shit. And I'm wondering if that's its empathy, is that it knows that she's also a clone, and that because they're from the same sort of family, and that's why she ends up letting them all loose at the end, because they're all clones. And she's like, they came from the same place I did.
Yeah,
But yeah, it was actually
such a great
it's
storyline.
very good movie where they had the whole black market of the selling of the fucking dinosaurs and shit.
So, and then they all get their comeuppance, don't they? They all get fucked up.
Especially the little auctioneer.
So good, yeah, it's great.
Yeah, no, it's a good set of movies. I think I'm going to do the journey from start to finish as well.
Yeah,
but
we've done the first one, so we'll go through it. But they were all on Netflix, but then they expired. Like the day we watched the first one, it had expired. And I said to them, look, don't be too concerned. Binge. It usually means that someone else has brought them. Binge. Because that's why they've expired. They're going on to, yeah, well, that's what I thought. It'd be whoever's got the rights to the new movie, I'd say, has brought the rest of them and said, I want the rest of them in preparation for the fact we're going to host the new movie when it comes to streaming.
Exactly. Yeah, but no, they're all on binge. I had a look. That's how I got to watch the new one.
Oh, even the second and the third?
Yeah.
Of the first ones? Oh, yeah. Great. Okay, cool.
Well, the second one's definitely there, and the first one, I think the third one is. You'd think that would be. Anyway. So, what's the Haps, SB?
What is the Haps, a stupid bitch? I'm just looking through your bits and pieces. Let's talk about the Marvellous Women card launch.
Well, as we all know from my live video, Vinny and I got to participate in the launch, international worldwide launch of the Marvellous Women card deck.
I was devastated I couldn't go. It's just because I'd started, it was my first week at my new job and I couldn't get off work early to attend.
Well,
I would have had to leave early to get there.
Insider intel for you. There's going to be another one.
Oh, fantastic.
And we're going to go to Sydney and Melbourne as well, I believe. And when I say we, I mean Samantha. So the Marvellous Women cards were created by a dear friend of mine, Samantha Rush. And the graphics were done by the very talented January Cole, who also did our logos for Stupid Bitches Say What. Small world hashtag. So the cards were created because Sam noticed a gap in the market to help women make decisions of all kinds while feeling confident, strong and empowered. So the cards exist to inspire, guide, challenge, and motivate you to be your strongest self. So they're like angel cards. It's a deck of cards like that. Angel cards, you shuffle, you pull out one for your card for a day, but they're all based on marvelous women of our history.
They're beautifully done.
They're amazing. So I drew a card for us earlier today before our podcast.
Yay!
Asking the cards to give us some guidance on an inspiration for our podcast session tonight and the podcast as a whole. And the person I drew was, or the person who jumped out of the deck for me was Barbara Streisand.
Oh, stop it!
Barbara Streisand.
It's
Speaking
so
of musical episodes.
in so many ways. And we were talking about Lady Gaga earlier.
I know.
Star is Born. And oh my God, Barbara, are you giving us your good wishes?
And it comes in a beautiful little card holder. And so her 3 lines of wisdom for us today are: confidence and doubt are opposite ends of the same scale. No one trusts yourself. Everyone has their issues. There's no need to envy. So the way I took it, because I was asking for some cards inspiration for our podcast, I thought about there's no need to envy, because you think obviously we're very happy with the way our podcast is going. I'm very happy with the numbers we've got and all that stuff. But you look at other podcasts, you get 15,000 downloads and stuff. It's like, everyone's got their own shit. There's no need to envy.
Yes.
They may not.
Yes.
They may be miserable fucks recording those podcasts. We're doing it for the time of our life, and as a non-profitable side business. Know and trust yourself.
Just want to be able to make tax deductibles. That's all we want.
That's all. Let us make $1, and then we'll be fine.
Let us travel for free.
Even more so. Know and trust yourself. Obviously. Be real to us. The podcast is about us, so we're going to just know and trust ourselves and how we deliver it. And confidence and doubt are the opposite ends of the same scale, which is very true. I've had so many doubts about stuff, but I'm very confident about it. We've got to just push past that.
We've got to balance it out. Yeah,
exactly. So that was the card that we drew. So you can get these cards by following either the Marvellous Women Cards on Instagram, or you can also go to their website, marvellouswomencards.com. Marvellouswomencards.com. And just a little bit of...
Boss January wrote, I mean, she did pictures, she did the artwork. Sam obviously put together the information and the confidence quotes and the details about it all. Yeah, which is the key part. Like the pictures are beautiful and gorgeous, and it's nice to look at, but the words behind it is the thing. That
and the quotes
are
are all
inspirational piece.
And they're all quotes that have been said by the woman that comes up in the card. So they're all relevant. Figures. Yeah. So there's 52 cards. They're all got different women throughout history. There's fucking like people like Joan of Arc, Princess Diana, Lady Gaga.
Do you know who would love them? Is Nat. Nat would love them. It would totally be up Nat's alley.
They also do candles as well, and we've got 2 of the candles from the launch, and they fucking smell divine. And they're all different things like empowering focus or confidence or whatever, and you burn one of the candles. So it's very good. Check it out. And we'll check out the live video on our Insta. Anyway, so that's the Marvellous Women launch. We also have the Ukraine war. Do you want me to go on that now? Or?
Yeah, go into that. It's a Debbie Downer. Let's not finish on a Debbie Downer.
It is a Debbie Downer.
Let's go into
it's obviously very important. So, as we know, the Russian invasion of Ukraine started on the 24th of Feb this year, after Russian military force that had been collecting at spots on the border for weeks previous, since 2021 actually. So attacks so far have been reported in the major cities of Ukraine, including the capital Kiev. There's fears out there that it could be the largest war since 1945, Europe's largest war since 1945, which of course is World War II.
Let's hope not.
That's World War II. Thousands have already died in the war, including civilians, of course, and hundreds of thousands are still fleeing across the borders. So we actually have a friend who is going through a surrogacy with a woman in the Ukraine at the moment. She's pregnant with the child. She's probably about 3 months before the baby is due. And she was living in Kiev when this all kicked off. So these are obviously it's very affecting to the people in Ukraine and also the people outside of Ukraine.
It's awful. It's like
horrendous.
There's nothing that we can do to help them. Like it's not where you can
it's
donate
up to the
money or,
it's up to the police.
You know,
to really do
you can't change the circumstances that they're in.
There was
we don't have the power to do that. It's so frustrating that we just have to sit by and just watch the news.
And just hope that our political representatives do something. There was footage of this one woman who was in a shelter, and she was Ukrainian, and she was there, and they were interviewing her, and she's talking in English to the news camera, and she's like, we just don't want to be Russian. We want to be Ukrainian, and we want to be able to be us and just do us. We don't want them coming 100%. In and taking our country over. We also, as I mentioned in a previous podcast, we mentioned the news story of where they were doing the accident cycles with the young school kids. If the air sirens go off, that there's an air raid, they all have to run to the bunker, but they called it an accident, not an airstrike. But so we've got a friend who's got a pregnant surrogate over in the Ukraine. She was in Kiev when it was getting attacked. The surrogacy agency have provided the direct mobile number to the surrogate to our friends, which they never do because you can't harass them. So they've been able to talk to them. They've been able to speak to the lady and see if she's okay. The last report she had, she was safe and she was 100 miles out of Kiev and should do everything she could to protect the baby. And that was the last they've heard of her.
Oh my God.
There's
How far
also-
pregnant is she?
She was 6 months. So there was also another article on the same.
Oh, that hurts my heart.
Yeah, no, it gives me goosebumps too. There was also another article about an Aussie couple who had a surrogate in the Ukraine. They were unable to have kids. They had a surrogate in the Ukraine who gave birth to their child. And they were on the plane over to the Ukraine. And when they landed in Dubai, the Russian war had kicked off. And there was
They
no
weren't allowed
planes
to
that were
go.
flying into the
Yeah,
Ukraine or anything like that. So the closest they could get to was Poland. And they flew to Poland because they want to get the baby and hopefully save the surrogate as well. And when they got to Poland, there was talks of making it so that they could give temporary passports during this situation to the baby. Emergency passports, sorry. One of the person, because usually both parents have to be there to sign the papers. They're going to make it so that only one of the parents had to be there to sign the papers and shit like that. So I'm not sure of what the latest is with them, but I know that they'd fled to Poland and they were trying their best to now get to the border to try and meet their surrogate and get their baby and hopefully the surrogate into safety. It's fucked. So the reason why
There's a lot of surrogacy that comes out of Ukraine then.
well, there is, and you know that's
I didn't know that.
yeah, and well, because there's a lot of like surrogacy was illegal in Queensland for a while. There's a lot of states in Australia too that don't allow surrogacy internationally, and
Yeah.
especially for the gays. But yeah, there's Ukraine. Obviously, it's
That would complicate things trying to get a baby back in that you're not blood related to across the borders, I guess, wouldn't it?
Well, at this stage, yeah, I think when you get a surrogate and that it's legal in your state, there'd be no issues getting it across. But
Of course, but if it's
in
not
this
legal-
situation, yeah.
Mm.
So why is the war actually happening? So from Putin's standpoint, he declared Russia could not feel safe, develop, and exist from what he states is a constant threat from modern Ukraine, which is a load of shit. So he states that his goal was
What's
to
the
protect.
threat?
Well, so he states that his goal was to protect people subjected to bullying and genocide through the demilitarization and denazification of Ukraine, which is just bullshit. There's been no genocide in the Ukraine, and the current president is a fucking Jew. So he's not a Nazi, for fuck's sake. So as we discussed in previous episodes, the Ukraine was set to join NATO, which I've done some research on, and it means the North Atlantic Treaty Organization. And it's an intergovernment military alliance. Intergovernmental MAFS military alliance containing 28 European countries and 2 North American countries, which I'm guessing is the US and Canada. And it was established in the aftermath of World War II. Russia is doing anything they can to ensure that Ukraine does not join NATO, because if they join NATO, they become part of this protected society where it comes to war in Europe and all that shit, where they don't want any of that shit to happen again. And if they join, Putin also sees it as a threat to Russia's borders, as its sphere of influence diminishes. So if Ukraine is part of NATO, he's worried that the country will then become host to US ballistic missiles and troops, which he considers a direct threat, which I get, but fuck off.
Also, don't fucking hurt people, you dummy.
Stop fucking, ruling. And I mean, it's completely obviously his sphere of fucking influence of communism. Who cares if it becomes a fucking blip, mate? So yeah, allow people to fucking make their own free choices in a democratic manner.
Exactly. So I'm behind on a lot of the news with it because I just find it incredibly depressing to watch. But what's being done? Is anything being done?
So they've put in sanctions where it comes to dealing with trade sanctions and all that shit. So most of the world has stopped all their trade sanctions with
Yes, I knew that. But that seems
Beijing.
like a drop in the bucket, right? That doesn't seem like that's
Well, it does
enough.
because it stops them getting their supplies, which means they might stop on getting some food sources, some
So it's
metal
not only
sources.
income sources that they're not going to get things coming in, but what if are they self-sufficient in lots
Imported
of ways
goods.
in terms of
Look, I wouldn't
non-imported
say
goods?
maybe, but probably not for the population they have.
And I guess the cold and the seasonal weather would change that as well. So there'd be times that but I guess again, that's what happens in war times. You live off the bones of your ass.
Well, they were doing that in communism.
Do with what you've got.
They were kind of doing that in communism anyway, where they'd have.
So if anyone can survive in those conditions,
it's the Russians.
It sounds like Russians can.
Yeah, because they were doing that in communism.
What else is being done?
Shit was getting stockpiled and people were hoarding and all that stuff. But China haven't and are providing wheat and all that stuff to the Russian.
Yeah, I heard China was like, yeah, cool, bruh, we're friends forever.
Which is sad. Obviously, they're communist countries. Mm-hmm. He's also using the threat of nuclear war, like they've taken over Chernobyl in Ukraine now, and he's threatened to open the pits, which would cause all this fucking radiation, fucking thousands of miles around it if people fuck up. And you just don't know. And that's the thing.
Well, he stormed on some other nuclear plant in Ukraine. It had a big long name starting with Z. And there was a fire there, and they were worried that if the fire didn't get put out, it could be a worse nuclear disaster than Chernobyl. Yeah. But just before we got onto the podcast, because again, I haven't been across enough of the news to, talk about it without ignorance. I scrapped that because I had heard that the fire had gone out, and I didn't know how reliable that information was that I had heard. It was just, I've heard it was from news.com, I think, and I was like, ugh.
Yeah. I'd heard
I can't believe anything on news.com.
But yeah, Ukraine's also very rich in natural resources, which he obviously wants his hand on.
Okay, where were we?
All right, so let's sign off on the war of Ukraine. So anyway, basically, Putin's a fucking liar. Mm-hmm. Everything he says is narcissistic and totalitarian. And just let these fucking people who aren't causing any pain to anybody else run their country with their Jew comedian president, for fuck's sake.
Also, just don't start a war, you dumb fuck.
Cunt.
No one wants it. We've had COVID. Okay. All right.
Should we go into it? Let's go Eurovision.
Yeah, I want to do Eurovision before I get too drunk. I'm going pretty drunk. All right, listeners, let's take you back to
It's not back in time.
Saturday. Well, actually, Tyler and I went to the Gold Coast on Friday night in torrential rain and thought we were going to die the whole way, and did pretty much about 70 Ks on the highway. So rocked up, torrential rain. We're staying in Service Paradise, right about 150 metres from Cavill. Literally everywhere we walked, we got saturated, and everything is literally walking distance. But it was awesome. Had so much fun. Tyler hadn't been to Cavill as an adult, so it was an eye-opener, and he enjoyed it immensely. So we had a wonderful weekend despite the torrential rain, and we were already there for 2 days. The boys had to come back early. They were already there for one night. But on the Saturday,
we got to join our forces.
We did get to join forces. So we Friday night we spent just Tyler and myself. Then we all came together, and that was me and Tyler and Bino and Vinny and Maria and Belinda.
Hashtag Fat Freddies.
And hashtag Fat Freddies. Much later, Tedwood joined us as well. If you need a recommendation next time you're in Broadbeach, please go to Fat Freddy's. It was amazing. The food was amazing. The service was amazing. The music was great. Anyways,
but yes,
shout out to Fat Freddy's.
Yes, and shout out to the hot barman that nearly made singles out of me, Vinny, you, and Tyler. Stop being so damn engaging, god damn it.
Yeah.
Stop looking in my eyes. And stop telling me I'm pretty. Tell me I'm pretty.
But that was the location of our first live video. So if you haven't seen it, please check it out on that Instagram account, because it is hilarious, and you see me running like a bit of a weirdo. And then we went on to the convention centre where we watched Australia Decides.
$12.50 fucking cans of Jim Beam.
Yes, very expensive. I drank champagnes, got very inebriated. But
we were sat separately too because you got your tickets after us, which sucked.
Yes.
But you were very close to us.
We could still yell at each other across the aisle. But we have mixed thoughts about the winner. I loved probably 80% of the acts, including the act that won. I do disagree with him as the winner, though, because I feel like Evie Irie and what's the other boy? Isaiah Firebrace. I feel like they were the standout for me and that they should have
really
won.
They came like 7th overall.
And I have continued to listen to the songs since we left the show. Well, I didn't on Saturday night. I was very inebriated. On Sunday I did. We listened to it on the whole way home.
It's a good album, really, isn't it?
It's great. I still feel that Charlie, the one on the couch, was also amazing.
Yeah.
The other one, I did love the girl band, not as much. Tyler loved the girl band.
Oh, G Nation. Vinny is a big fan of G Nation.
I keep saying G-Force. G-Force is a cartoon.
It is a cartoon.
G Nation. Tyler loved them. He thought they were great. What Tyler was looking for was it's people who could sing really well and a performance. And he wanted a happy song. He didn't want to down a song. He wanted an uplifting song. And that's what he said about Sheldon, which was there was no doubting his talent, but he didn't really move around. And it was a bit of a downer song. And that's what Tyler was like. I feel that if we're representing Australia and, Eurovision, you need to be something that gets people up, dancing on their feet and has movement on the stage. And I think he's 100% right.
Well, what did you think about Paulini's We Are One?
I missed that. I was at the bar. I heard it, but I didn't see it.
So Vinny and I obviously went into it listening to all the songs weeks before.
That's what Tyler said. He said that he thinks that he's so glad that we didn't listen to any of the songs and we went in blind because we watched the performance as well as listened to the song and we saw the whole piece together.
Oh, my opinions changed after watching the performances and hearing the songs as well. And they changed especially again after watching it on SBS iView, if that's what it's called. It's great watching it again.
Yeah, I really
but we went into it really feeling Sheldon vibes. I'm not going to lie. I was
had already made your decision.
Excited that Sheldon won. I loved G Nation. I loved Bite Me. I loved Voyager, the rock band that did Dreamer, the second last song.
I did like Voyager. They weren't enough for me to get close to my final.
It's one of the acts that really niggles at me, where I feel like I should be supporting it, but I'm obviously Sheldon.
I feel like their energy on stage was up there, though.
It was amazing.
On stage that they showed
wait till you watch it
was
on
so
SBS.
crazy.
It keeps, because it drops from my top 3 and then it just reappears again every time I hear it and see it. Charlie, Suck It Being Lonely. That was a song that I did not rate before we went to Eurovision. It's the
I cried. I had tears rolling down my face.
I didn't even really.
Are you crying? I was like, oh my God. It's such a beautiful song.
It's one so I didn't even rate it at the performance. After watching it on SBS and watching the television production of it, she's like my top 3. She's amazing.
So who's the second then?
I think Voyager with Dreamer. I tell you who dropped off my list big time after seeing it on the TV was Jaguar Jones, Little Fires.
See, I enjoyed Jaguar Jones, but again, she wasn't in my top 5.
Wait till you watch her on TV.
The chat because I need to find the chat because.
Wait till you watch her on TV. She hits so many bung notes and is very flat and very boring, which is disappointing because she was the song's an actual great song. There's so many of these songs that I don't understand why they're not in the top fucking 40.
There's someone else I'm missing that was really great? There's someone really important that I'm missing. Oh, and I love the TikTok chick. And Tyler said she didn't move around enough, but that song is so catchy. From the bottom, it's so catchy. And since then, it keeps getting stuck in my head.
Do you know who I also loved that didn't get much rating? Was the very last guy, Jude. Who sang that fucking Dare to Dream. It was just a really nice song.
And this is what Tyler and I said after. They were all very good.
What was your worst song?
The worst song was, hang on, I need to find the list.
Yes, I agree with Tyler. Electrify, yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know that there was a guy that used to live in our apartments, gay guy with this partner? And
I love that he knows. He's not a fan, but he's
I love that he knows too.
Room,
and I love that his opinion agrees with me. Electrify is my worst too. Watch the SBS version of it too, because you'll keep going, oh my God, we were set up there. But yeah, no, great. Sheldon, his performance is fucking flawless. And so this is what I said to Vinny when we watched it again on Friday. Well, it's not Friday, it's now Friday, Wednesday night or Tuesday night. The thing with Sheldon's song is he's talking about obviously issue that is very relatable to by a lot of people, not even just gay people, just people who are not the same or don't feel the same.
Sure.
But I said to Vinny, the thing that he actually really gets you with is when he's talking about the song, he's singing about the song, and at the beginning he's talking about, you know, I'm not the same. He goes to try and play the games that other kids play, but they push him away because he's not the same. No, he's not the same, yada, yada. But then he says, so he tries to make another game that everyone can play that, you know, because we're not the same. We're not the same. We're not the same. Right. So at the beginning of it, it's all about his experience in it, which everyone can relate to. Well, a lot of people can relate to. But then in the end, when he turns it to that we're not the same, he's actually including us and making us all feel part of the song now. Not something that we can relate to, but something that we can champion, if you know what I mean. And it was fucking, I'm playing it for you.
I do get the significance. And like I said, I'm not saying that I didn't love it because I did love it. I just preferred other songs.
I'm going to play it for us before we go, though.
But I told you about how I was sitting next to that lady and that disabled girl, and I sparked up a conversation with her. And I said, oh, hello. And I didn't realise her daughter was disabled until she told me.
What type of disabled?
I'm gonna say maybe cerebral palsy. She didn't mention it. Yeah. And she said to me, and I turned to her, and there were like a couple of seats. I said, "Oh, hello." I said, "Oh, who are you voting? Who are you rooting for?" This was before any of it. So she goes, "Oh, we're here. We are 100% Sheldon supporters." And I said, "Oh, really?" I said, "My friends are Sheldon supporters. I'm not really sure who I support." Blah blah blah. And she's like, "Oh, my daughter." And then she turned to her daughter and she said, you know, they went to school together, and she has a disability, and he used to always help her to classes. And
shut up.
Yeah. And she said, we will never forget the kindness that he showed her.
Oh my God, I'm goosebumps.
Yeah, I told you this. Did I tell you this?
All you told me was, let's go live.
What this mum was like, he is honestly,
even during this is what I said to Vinny too. So you know how he had the reveal at the end of where he took his mask off and revealed his face? I said to Vinny that would have zero weight except for the fact that we have watched his journey through fucking The Voice, where he was always covering his face and he was getting shit from the judges about covering his face all the time. And he was on Australia's Got Talents, so he's on that series as well. Simon Cowell told him that his voice was impeccable, basically.
Oh, wow, okay.
He got to the semis, but never made the live grand finals. So the fact of him removing his mask would have had zero significance if he hadn't been in those shows before. Because no one would give a shit. You know, like, who are you? It'd be like fucking Electrify dude revealing his mask and we're like, yeah, whatever, boring.
Oh, I need to ask you something. So, the American thing that I tagged you in, I didn't realize that America. So, do America participate? Do the US participate?
No.
So why are they doing the song contest then? Are they trying
They're
to
doing
get in
their
like
own.
we
They're
tried
doing
to
that.
get in?
No, they're doing their own United States song contest.
But they said it was tagged Eurovision.
Maybe they're just tagging. No, they're not in.
Australia's only got. They were. I tagged you in it, and I said, "Oh my god, what is this?" I didn't think they were part of it.
I thought it was just an American singing contest because it's got big artists like Mason.
But it was on the Eurovision. Yeah. It's heaps of big artists.
Oh, they're probably just promoting it as another song contest that's out there because Australia only got in it through the fact that we are one of the biggest nations that watch it every year, even more so than the European ones. And we've been involved with our shit.
So when it starts, when does it not? How many? It goes for like 3 days, doesn't it, or 2 days?
So it's like about 5 days, but the way that they do it is there's 3 shows: semi-final 1, semi-final 2, then the top 10 acts from each go through to the grand final. But the grand final has the top 20 acts, but then they also have the acts that are guaranteed for the grand final each year, which are the big 5, which are the ones that fund Eurovision and also the hosting country. So Italy are automatically in, but the big 5 are Italy, Spain, France, England, and Germany. So they don't even participate in the semi-finals because they're the ones that make it keep going. So they're guaranteed the spot in the grand final.
Oh, financially, because they contribute financially.
Yeah,
they guarantee the spot. Oh, that's a bit fucked. So there's only
it's true though
for 5 positions.
Yeah, they've got their 5 positions that they've paid for because if they're the countries that are going to put in the most money, they want their countries to watch their country in the grand final.
Yeah, I can't get it.
And it's also a bit of a drawback because a lot of people from the semi-finales get a lot of their supporters for the acts that they're doing. So a lot of the times when you see the big 5 coming out on the grand finale stage, it's the first time you're seeing them.
Okay.
So have you seen the latest on Kanye? So the latest update on Kanye is he's released a new music video, which is done in claymation, so such as Gumby, and it depicts Pete Davidson, or a lookalike of Pete Davidson, that Kanye kidnaps, drags across thing in a sack, buries into his neck in sand, and then kills him. What a fucking loser. Right?
Did you know that their divorce went through officially this week?
No, so what did he do?
Oh, no, that's it. It's just officially all the news reports are announcing that they're both single. Well, they're not single, they're divorced. You don't, like, you become single, yes, but you don't just automatically wipe the fact that you're married. You technically become a divorcee, really, if you want to split hairs. So
I'm a divorcee.
Their status is single now, and that's what all the news reports are announcing, that officially Kim is declared single legally, and Kanye is also declared single legally as of like 24 hours ago. And I always get confused with the time difference. Do you know what I mean? Like with us, because they're like half a day or a day behind us or whatever it is. So it's hard to know. But the news reports are saying 24 hours ago they were officially divorced legally. Even though they petitioned for divorce in 2021, early 2021, it's taken this long for the court to hear them. Just quite unusually normally, because normally they just stamp you and get you out, especially when you're celebrities and you can flood them with some money. But it'd be interesting to see, because she's allegedly asking the judge to separate issues of child custody and property from marital status. That's interesting, because they've both got a lot of wealthy assets. I don't imagine her trying to take any of his money, because why would she when she's got so much fucking money?
Yeah, it's not about the money anymore. She's had a wealthy life and she's not going to be denied anything.
Wealthy, they don't need to take
she's
money.
She's not going to be denied
other.
Anything if he's,
Unless there was a house that they bought that one of them really loved, you know, that like they both really loved. I mean, I could imagine them fighting over like, no, I want the ranch in Montana. No, I want the ranch in Montana.
Well, you can have half the ranch in Montana.
No, you sell it.
But
If I
want
can't
all
have
of
it, no one
Northwest.
will. That's
Yeah,
it.
yeah, totally.
But it's now that it's a separate, so they haven't decided what's happening with the child custody stuff. And America's very strict on that. Like, you have to have custody. You can't just be like, fucking, we're gonna do
Those
this.
cigarettes there.
Yeah, they usually have to have a child custody order when you're divorced. But yeah, anyway, so that's quite interesting. But I hope that poor Pete has the stamina to push through and
well, see, he's flying into space. He's about to seal the deal to go flying into space 100 kilometers above Earth for 10 minutes.
Oh, take me back to the UFO episode. We should talk about that then.
With the owner of Amazon.
Oh, the Bezos guy.
I don't know.
The Bezos, whatever his name is. Yeah, it's something Bezos. I thought you were going to say it was the Elon Musk.
No.
Because when we rewatched the second Iron Man, we had rewatched it. We were watching the Marvels. Elon Musk is in the second Iron Man.
Is he?
He's there.
I didn't even notice
as
him.
himself, playing himself. But look, poor Kanye. He's just a mess.
Poor
at the
Kanye.
moment, isn't he?
He's this fucking psychopathic stalker. We're going to watch him on Why Women Kill in the next fucking season.
Yeah, either of them go missing or end up in an OJ Nicole Simpson situation.
I've got an idea. I think it was Kanye. He does look like it. It does sound like he could be one of those type of fucking weirdos too, doesn't he?
I know, right?
That was very uncommitted.
No, I agree with you. I wholeheartedly agree with you. I think that, we know he has mental health issues, and also his behaviour of recent has been erratic at best.
Very erratic.
And downright aggressive.
Not even passive.
Yeah. Look, that's what happens when you marry a Kardashian.
Oh, well, that's what happens when you think you're the world's best fucking person in the world.
I know, yet every morning that I take Luke to school and he says, Mum, can I put some music on? It's always fucking Kanye. Every day it's Kanye. And it's not because he likes him as a person, he just genuinely loves his music. His music.
So speaking of awards for the biggest wanker, how did the Screen Actor Guild go? Screen Actors Guild.
So look, I'm going to have to flick through all my bits because I got stuck. In the list of Eurovision, I got stuck. I got stuck at the Gumby, the Search of the Gumby episode theme song, which we got sidetracked.
I'm not even sure if that's going to make it, but if you do miss out, you've missed out.
But look, let's just skip to the highlights because we don't want to, we don't want to care about who's best screen.
What are the highlights?
Okay. Look, it's not really anything outlandish that you can really, So outstanding performance by a male actor in a supporting role is the winner was Troy Kotzer from Coda. So Coda's the movie about the Deaf family, and she's the only one. I don't know if you've seen, and look, the movie looks great, and I have thought every time I see a trailer for it, I have to watch it. I feel like it's on Amazon or one of those newer streaming services, but it's the movie where she's born into a completely deaf family. The mum and dad are deaf, the brother's deaf, and she's the only person who's not deaf, and she's a singer. So that's what she wants to do with her life, and it's called Coda, and I don't know much more about it, but I've seen the film, and it seems quite, gripping. So her whole life, this young girl's whole life is around dealing with her family's, challenges, and she molds her life. Because could you imagine two deaf parents, a deaf brother, their whole life would be around, communicating in that way, and she's a singer, and so they can never appreciate her and. Yeah, exactly.
I really love your vibrations that you give off.
Yeah. Anyway, it's supposed to be a very gripping movie. So I'm assuming that I don't know who True Kotzer is. I think it must be the dad or the brother or some person who plays it, but it would have been amazing. I think it's a movie I really want to watch and I haven't seen it. But he beat Jared Leto which we know Jared Leto is a massive method acting
And
person.
he apparently has a massive, massive cock.
Does he? Well,
Yeah, like
he
massive.
seems like a massive, massive cock. But yeah, look, I'm not a fan these days. But anyway, so and then also
Went out with Britney Spears back in the day too.
Did he? He went out with Claire Danes. He used to be in that teenage show, and I was obsessed with it. My So-Called Life.
He was also in. He also went out with Cameron Diaz. So it was a bit of a fame whore with the way he was going. And he was in Girl Interrupted, one of my most favourite films of all time. Have you seen it? It's got Winona Ryder, Angelina Jolie.
I was actually reading it, and I've wanted to see it for a really long time. For some reason, it's just escaped me. But I read a review about it the other day about the top 10 movies that you have to watch before you die. And I thought to myself, and I put it on my memos. Like I was like, put a reminder. I was like, next time you're looking for a movie, you have to watch this movie. And I will watch it, I promise you. And when I do, we'll talk about it in the podcast. Guess who was outstanding performance by a female actor in a supporting role?
In movie or TV?
Movie. I don't know who she is by the name, but it's Ariana DeBose for West Side Story, the remake of the movie that you talked about in last week's podcast.
And do you know that the remake is now available on Disney?
I'll have to watch it. So she beat out Kate Blanchett, Kirsten Dunst, Katrina Balfe of Outlander fame. You know,
so does she play Maria?
It doesn't say. I'm only talking about wins and who won.
It must be Maria.
No,
what's her name?
It's a supporting role. So is Maria the main character or a supporting role?
What's her name?
Ariana DeBose, DeBose is the name. Outstanding performance by a male actor in a comedy series. Ding, 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 went to winner Jason Sudeikis for Ted Lasso, and I fucking love Ted Lasso.
We still have a
great show. But the people who fell short was Steve Martin. And
she's Anita. She's Anita, which is my most favourite character out of
she won. She won it for a supporting role.
And do you know that Rita Moreno, who played Anita in the original West Side Story, won Best Supporting Actress for her role?
I feel like I have to see the original before I watch the remake, right? So outstanding performance by a male actor in a comedy series. Did you hear me say that? It was Jason Sudeikis for Ted Lasso, which I love. But his contenders were Steve Martin and Martin Short for Only Murderers, which you've said to me I have to watch. I haven't yet. You've told me to. I will get to it. I promise you, because I love what's her face, the young girl.
Oh, Selena Gomez.
Selena Gomez, I love her.
She's kind of dry in it. Martin Short is fucking hilarious. And Steve Martin's fantastic too. Father of the Bride.
Oh, they're both in Father of the Bride. Both of them.
It's about a podcasting trio.
Oh, stop. I know they're all living in the same building. I didn't know it was a podcast.
They live in the building and they all do a true crime podcast together on a murder that happened in the building.
Okay. So I'm going to skip through a couple that you're not really going to know. Outstanding performance by an ensemble in a comedy series was Ted Lasso, the winner. If you haven't seen Ted Lasso, please watch it. It is so good. And it starts off in a really kooky way. And you're like, oh, I'm not sure I'm going to like this. And then it just takes off. It's such an amazing, it's probably one of the best. Second season's a bit shit, I have to say, but I love it so much I'm going to stick through and go through to season 3. But the first season was such an amazing show that I was like, I haven't seen a show in this long that I've just gone, whoa, I love it immensely.
Okay, we'll give it a crack.
Yeah. Okay, so we talked about this earlier. Outstanding performance by a male actor in a drama series was the dude from Squid Games, Lee Jung-jae. Outstanding performance by a female actor in a drama series was winner Jung Ho-yeon, Squid Games.
Really?
So both, they took out both. Oh, listen to this. Outstanding performance by a female actor in a television movie or limited series Winner was Kate Winslet in Mayor of Easttown.
Oh, good. She finally got some recognition for that. Have you seen that yet?
Yeah, I have. I told you I've seen the first episode. I was quite drunk because we just finished a double podcast. I
You
think.
told me you'd seen the first
And
episode
I
months ago.
thought, yeah, and then I was
I
like,
think
I'm
that was
too
even
drunk.
in season 1.
I can barely keep up with Survivor and MAFS at the moment. Okay, I need some time. I'll get there. I will get there.
It is phenomenal.
Thanks for listening, you stupid bitches. We hope you enjoyed us talking about the issues that interest us most.
Now, don't be shy in sharing our posts. Honestly, we love the exposure. Let her away. So share, like, and subscribe to all our socials. Good night, you stupid bitches.
Good night.
Good night. Good.
Done and done. Resources.
Ukraine's like the second biggest country in Europe, I think it is. So it's big land mass.
It's much bigger than Russia, isn't it?
Oh, no. Russia's much bigger, but Ukraine's quite large. But there's a lot of natural resources in the area.
Well, you have to cut that then because I sound like a dummy, so you have to cut that one.
That's all right, because I don't know how accurate my thing is, but Russia's bigger. So yeah, but they've got a lot of natural resources that he wants to tap
I've
into.
got a little bit of drunkards. You see? Hello.
Okay.
Hi, guys.
You know that this is going to be at the end of the episode, don't you?
I know. Anyway, look at your face. You look like Gumby.
Gumby. Yeah, that stupid bitch. He's a stupid bitch. What a stupid bitch. That stupid bitch.